What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today is January 25th of 2025, a Saturday night edition of the stream. Actually, a little Saturday night fever, as for the first time on this channel, we're going to talk about the world of disco and why it's seeped its way into the world of American politics this past month. Media outlets all over the world are talking about Donald Trump doing his little dance, his little jig, to the song YMCA. And the truth is, it doesn't really matter what this article says about why Donald Trump likes this song, or any other article for that matter, because the real answer lies in the occultic world of numerology, a fact that is so evident that the information exposing it cannot be debated or refuted, but must be censored or silenced. So in this video, we're going to talk about how this is yet another extension of the major beast riddle that was highly evident in the inauguration of Donald Trump, who became the 47th president exactly 666 months after the moon landing. Of course, Trump, president number 47, matching the Gematria of beast and his very own name, just as the word president equals 47 in reduction. Of course, in all of my videos, we look at the base 4 methods of Gematria to explain the scripting of mainstream news, sports, and the world of celebrity entertainment. We also take a look at the standard and Latin methods of Gematria, which provide larger numbers but leave less room for coincidence. So why exactly is YMCA Donald Trump's unlikely anthem? And once again, this all circles back to the moon landing, an event which was promised by President John F. Kennedy to occur before the end of the decade. And sure enough, if you believe it, the Apollo 11 astronauts set foot on the lunar surface in July of 1969. 1969 happens to be the Gematria of Donald Trump's full name in one of our reverse methods. All 4 astronauts on Apollo 11 born in the year 1930, which matches Donald in another method. But what I failed to notice in my video on the swearing in the rotunda is the other beast connection to John F. Kennedy. Of course, the alternate number of the beast is 616, which many historians now believe the number is. And this year's inauguration wasn't only 5,616 weeks after JFK was born, but it was also 61 years and 60 days after his assassination. In that integral method of Latin Gematria, which I claim in every video to be the most significant, both JFK and ritual sacrifice equals 616. This riddle goes all the way back to the founding of the YMCA organization. YMCA, of course, standing for Young Men's Christian Association, which was founded in London all the way back in the year 1844 by a philanthropist named George Williams, or Sir George Williams, if you're from the other side of the pond. And of course, when he established the YMCA, he had the number 275 in his age. This is the ordinal Gematria of the number 666. It's also the Gematria of George Williams with capital letters. But I find it noteworthy that the YMCA was founded on the date June 6th, or 6-6, over there in London. Now, the verse that reveals the number of the beast as 666 is in the 66th book of the Bible, the book of Revelation. Number of the beast has Gematria of 66, as does number of a man. The phrase, "Here is wisdom," which begins the verse, also 66. And his number is, as it's stated, also another 66. Well, in the reverse alphabetic order, YMCA also equals 66. But what stands out even more is the year that this was founded, 1844. In ancient Hebrew Gematria, notice how the word revelation gives us a value of 844 in the Hebrew Standard Method. This method constructed identically to English Standard Gematria and has the same three digits, 844, as the founding year of the YMCA. In this video, I'm going to talk about just one member of the Village People who released the song YMCA back in 1978. The Village People is, of course, made up of a wide assortment of names. But the one I'm going to focus on is the one on top, Victor Willis, as this is essentially the lead performer of the group and someone who still is with them to this day, I believe. Notice how this man, Victor Willis of the Village People, was born 1,844 days after Donald Trump, matching the year that the YMCA organization was founded. And again, the Gematria of Revelation. Now, in another capital letter cipher called Caps Mixed, here we maintain the alphabetic order, but mix capital letters in with the large ones. Young Men's Christian Association sums to 844 in this cipher. And on the date Donald Trump became president, January 20th, it was exactly 844 mercurial years after the birth of George Williams, who again founded the YMCA in the mid-19th century. When George Williams died, he was just one day shy of being exactly 84 years and 4 weeks of age. When Donald Trump was first elected president in the year 2016, he was 844 months old. And as the Apollo 11 crew was returning to Earth just one day before their landing, Donald Trump turned 8,440 days old. Pretty similar digits to his age for the release of the song YMCA in October of 1978. It's also worth pointing out that revelation in Hebrew reduction also equals 25. And consider how 25 is now the year that Trump is retaking the White House. And the YMCA is often nicknamed the Y. Well, the letter Y is the 25th letter in the alphabet. So already, this lines up a little bit too well. But as always, the rabbit hole is dug deep. And I want to mention a few more things about this number of the beast before we talk more about Victor Willis and the rest of this song. So this guy, George Williams, he was born all the way back in the year 1821. And he died exactly 821 sidereal months after he founded the YMCA. A sidereal month measures the orbit of the moon around the Earth, a little over 27 days. And it's important to be familiar with these lunar counts because they seem to be every bit as significant as the standard calendar month that we're used to here in the United States. This same duration of time was also 22,432 days. These are the same digits in the number of lunar phases from the YMCA's founding to Trump's presidency, 2,234 lunations. That's the same 4 digits measuring from the assassination of JFK to Inauguration Day, 22,340 days. In fact, when the Apollo 11 astronauts returned to Earth, Trump was 23 years and 40 days old. And of course, 234 plus 432 is a sum of 666. So for these numbers to align in such strong fashion certainly stood out. And the 666 is truly the number of the fake moon landing. NASA's full name 666, just like fake moon landing and Apollo in alternate methods. Trump's inauguration was the 60th in the history of the country, and it happened on a date with 66 numerology, matching inauguration, Donald Trump, 47th, and 666. Trump was even born 1,666 sidereal months after George Williams. Trump's birth was also exactly 66 Venusian orbits after Williams died. And I noticed one of the original members of the Village People has passed away. And it just so happens he died 9 days before Freddie Mercury died of the same disease, AIDS. That Village People member, Glenn Michael Hughes, his name equals 666. So whether you're measuring to the birth of the founder of YMCA or his death, you get some pretty strong connections with this number of the beast. Another important number this year is 119, because along with his presidency, the 119th U.S. Congress was sworn in at the beginning of January. The name Donald has matching 119 Latin gematria with revelation. It's been 119 years since George Williams died, and Trump was even born 119 days before Williams' birthday. In fact, the Kennedy assassination was 119 years after the youth organization was founded. So where to next? I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the moon, as, again, this is the object in the sky that really brings this riddle all together. When the YMCA was first founded, it was during Brown lunation number -972. Now, for anyone who may be new to the channel, the Brown lunation number first began in the year 1923. The first new moon of that calendar year marked the first Brown lunation. So if you go backwards, you'll notice this number starts going into the negatives. And all the way back in 1844, this was -972. Well, when Trump became the president once again, he was exactly 972 lunar phases old. And that may not be exact, actually. My mistake. But his lunar age, 972. Inauguration Day was also 65,972 days after the founding of the YMCA. There's also a 973 in this measurement with the end date, which is another number found in George Williams' age for the moon landing. And 973 has become a pretty common number on this channel, as it's one heavily synced up with the 9/11 attacks. But with Trump becoming the 47th president, I pointed out some of these 47s earlier. It should be noted that the word revelation also equals 47 in Latin reduction. This brings us to one of the two men who are credited with creating the Village People. And the idea of stringing together some sort of gay fantasy is credited to this guy, Jacques Morali, a French disco and dance music producer. And what stood out immediately with the numbers with this guy is that he was born on 4/7 of the year 47. The 4th of July in the year 47. And now we're talking about President 47 being sworn in with this beast code. Now, Jacques died back in 1991, and I must have misspoken earlier. It was this guy who died 9 days before Freddie Mercury, not the member of the group. But at any rate, Trump took office 33 years and 66 days after his death. And the number 33 sums to 66 and 60. It also has matching gematria with 666. Now, 666 is truly the ultimate number of the moon. This is something I've been documenting at length for years. I even have this crafty PowerPoint presentation for my other slide nerds out there, just to demonstrate all the very clear ways that 666 is coded with the moon. Now, the moon rules the sign of Cancer. It's the only sign it rules in the zodiac. And Cancer has this astrological symbol which kind of resembles the number 69. And when YMCA came out, it was during Brown Lunation 690. And I assume you can take some other connotations from this number in relation to the Village People, but I'll let your imagination run wild on that. The other man credited with creating the Village People is Henry Bololo, which is a pretty funny name, but it also sums to 690. And when Henry Bololo died back in 2019, it was 14,900 days after the release of that song. And 149 is a number that stood out. Because Revelation sums to 149, so does the number 47. So does the number 66. In fact, the name Donald also equals 149. This is another major number of the inauguration this year. Remember, skull and bones equals 149. Skull and Bones also has this 572 in it. And if you look at the lunar age for the song YMCA to the inauguration, notice how Trump took office 572 moons later. So I'm sure there's much more skull and bones numerology, to unpack there. But another 149 is the word disco. And it's truly incredible how the gematria of the word disco finds its way into this numeric ritual that's being danced out by Trump on stage. So with the YMCA being formed way back in 1844, that makes this organization 180 years old. And 180 in numerology is 18, which is the sum of 6 plus 6 plus 6. 180 is also the ordinal gematria of Inauguration Day. In reverse, Inauguration Day equals 225. And this year's inauguration was in the year 2025. The word disco also equals 225, but it also equals 85 and 176. 85 is the birth numerology of Donald Trump, and 176 is the reverse gematria of his nickname. Just glancing over to the chat for the first time, so shout out to everybody who joined in. And nice fact, too, that 18 on the tarot deck, the 18th card of the major arcana is the moon, which is something I had in my slides. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18, so of course the moon, again connected to that code. With the S exception, disco equals 32. The man who founded YMCA did so when he was 302 sidereal months old. He would later die on a date with numerology of 32. When Village People founder Henry Bololo died, he was 30,200 days old. Now, I guess what I failed to list in my blog post here is that the 302nd prime number is 1997. And if you measure from the death of this same guy, Henry Bololo, to the date of the inauguration, it was 1997 days. With the end date, it's also 1998 days. That's the third multiple of 666. But there's more with this word disco. This disco producer died on a date in 2019 with numerology of both 50 and 23. The name Donald has matching 50 and 23 gematria with the word disco. The name Donald Trump in Satanic equals 523. And Trump was 5 years, 2 weeks, and 3 days old when Village People leader Victor Willis was born. As a matter of fact, Young Men's Christian Association has gematria of 5023. This using the reverse standard method of gematria, which, again, just simply flips the alphabet backwards, but uses the classic Hebrew and Greek numbering systems and applies it to the chart. This number 523, it's the 99th prime number. And the Village People released YMCA 9 years and 90 days after the moon landing. The moon equals 99. Donald and Disco, both also 99 with capital letters. This Victor Willis character, dressed up in the captain's gear right here, looking sharp, I guess. This guy was born in the city of Dallas, Texas. And Dallas, Texas, remember, this is where the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight was. I did a lot of work explaining how that fight was completely synced up to the moon landing and Neil Armstrong. The city of Dallas, Texas, has matching gematria with moon landing, 118, 179. Dallas, Texas also has matching 28 and 71 gematria with Apollo, the craft that traveled to the moon. Well, when Donald Trump put his hand on the Bible, oh wait, no he didn't. Just like all of the astronauts approached by Bart Sibrel, he wouldn't put his hand on the Bible. You know, no NASA astronaut would put their hand on the Bible and swear that they went to the moon. Kind of the same thing with Trump at the Rotunda. Anyway, when Trump became president again, he had the 28 and the 71 in the number of days old he was. His age also ended in the digits 710. And Donald John Trump equals 710. 7,010 weeks from the founding of YMCA to the release of the song YMCA. So lastly, Victor Willis of the Village People, he was 223 lunar phases old for the moon landing. And 223 is the Hebrew gematria of the moon. The name Victor Willis shares 223 gematria with Apollo and Donald. This brings us all the way back to the philanthropist who started it all, George Williams, whose name in the reverse alphabetic order equals 223. So there's a little bit more. Of course, my blog post is linked below down in the description, as well as the video I did a few days ago after the inauguration, exploring all the remarkable 666 riddles that existed on that day. All right, everyone. Thanks for all the love and support. Again, if you do want to support the work, there's links in the description below for that. It'll also unlock some new features on the calculator for you. So for everyone who's signed up, I can't thank you enough. Much appreciations and blessings as always. So with that, we'll sign off. Everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.